Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, this is Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things nerdy through a common sense lens. And man, oh man, there was some serious backlash over the Nintendo Direct as soon as a lot of people found out what the prices were going to be. Not so much necessarily, I wouldn't argue that for the Switch, but definitely the game seemed to be a little over the top, and a lot of fans aren't very happy about it. Well, amid that PR nightmare and disaster that they're currently dealing with, now they have actually made an official announcement that they're going to be delaying the pre-orders for the Switch 2, boys and girls. Now, at the exact same time, they're going out there and talking about the tariffs, but it also makes me kind of wonder, it makes me kind of ponder that why maybe they're also doing this is maybe trying to readjust and maybe try to turn some things around on the back end. We haven't had official release statements for all the backlash they've gotten for all of that kind of stuff, but some former PR executives from Nintendo of America out there have some thoughts on what might be going on behind the scenes over there at Nintendo, talking about the fact that they haven't seen Nintendo hasn't had to deal with a crisis like this since 2011. So that is absolutely insane, boys and girls. So as you can see over here from TheVerge.com, Nintendo delays Switch 2 pre-orders over tariff concerns is the statement that they put out. And then we've got another little bit of insider information that's kind of interesting over here. Former Nintendo PR manager says Switch 2 and Mario Kart World price backlash is a true crisis moment for Nintendo. So I think that's very interesting as well. I think that, I don't know, I'm not an insider on Nintendo. I don't have any inside sources over there. I'm just speculating that it seems like a very curious time. And I know obviously all the Trump tariffs got announced and all of that kind of stuff. So maybe this is the case. Maybe it's a little bit of reshuffling behind the scenes. I have no idea. But this is very interesting. This is very fascinating. And it's given some good information for all the Nintendo fans out there to at least give some kind of assessment of what might be going on with this situation. So we're going to check out both these articles. We're getting all the juicy details of exactly what may be going behind the scenes over there at Nintendo. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we just crossed 1,700. We're on our way to 1,800, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. What do you think about all this? Does it surprise you that Nintendo is delaying this? Do you believe it is because of the tariffs, or do you believe it's something else going on behind the scenes? Do you think these PR guys are right, or do you think Nintendo's just going to completely and totally ignore all of the backlash like they've done sometimes in the past? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. So, all right, let's go ahead and start off with the breaking news, right? Because this literally just came out as of the time I'm recording this morning. Nintendo delays Switch 2 pre-orders over tariff concerns. Nintendo says pre-orders will no longer start on April 9th, but the console's June 5th release date is unchanged. So it might, I mean, that's going to be a serious scramble with all the pre-order stuff if they're going to end up doing that. And they haven't released any kind of official stuff or anything like that. So we've got the statement over here. This is the official statement that was given to The Verge by Eddie Garcia on behalf of Nintendo. It says pre-orders for Nintendo Switch 2 in the U.S. will not start on April 9th, 2025 in order to assess the potential impact of tariffs and evolving market conditions. Right? This is one of those things that, yeah, you could just kind of maybe pass this off as, well, of course, evolving market conditions, obviously the tariffs and all that kind of stuff. But obviously, you already said the impact of tariffs. So what are the other evolving market conditions? This is the thing in the statement that kind of made me go, is this really all about the tariffs, or are the evolving market conditions the fact that you're dealing with the biggest PR disaster you've had in over a decade on your hands with the backlash for trying to charge $80 for a new upgraded version of a game for your Switch 2? So yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. That might be an evolving market conditions. You thought you could get away with it, and then you found out all of the backlash. Now, of course, is there going to be plenty of the hardcore Nintendo fans out there that are going to go out there and dump this money right away? Absolutely. No doubt about that. Those first couple of weeks of sales will be absolutely fabulous. But the long-term stuff going on out there, this is going to affect us. This is going to affect your casual gamer or your family gaming and stuff like that. Why bother upgrading to the Switch 2 when you've got a Switch 1 that works just fine, and they're still going to be releasing new games for it throughout at least this year and probably even into next? So why bother, right? That's going to affect the long-term sales of things if they don't change it. If they're smart, I think they'd probably start to change some of that stuff. Nintendo will update its timing at a later date. The launch date of June 5th, 2025 is unchanged. So evolving market conditions leads us over to here, an article over here from IGN, and Wesley and Poole, and shout out to the Verge article writer as well, Emma Roth. There you go. We always like to give a little credit where credit is due. After all, former Nintendo PR manager says Switch 2 and Mario Kart World price backlash, a true crisis moment for Nintendo. They have lost control of this. So obviously we know about all of this, all of the backlash. Okay, so speaking in video on their YouTube channel, former Nintendo of America PR manager Kit Ellis and Krista Yang criticized Nintendo for the way it revealed the $450 price tag and the $80 price of Mario Kart World. I don't want to blow things out of proportion, but this does feel like a true crisis moment for Nintendo, Ellis said. So obviously we know about all the rest of them. Mario Kart isn't the only Nintendo Switch game to cost $80. Some Nintendo Switch 2 editions, such as The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, will also cost $80. And basically you're just going to get some upgraded graphics and some HDR stuff. Like, is that really paying $80 for a game that you just paid $60 or maybe at $60 for just a couple of years ago? Yeah, me thinks not so much on that one. Nintendo has even come under fire for charging for the Switch 2 tutorial video game Experience Welcome Tour, which also is absolutely ridiculous, which fans said should be a free pack, just like the Astros Playroom with the PlayStation. We went over some of that stuff the other day, but yeah, it's literally teaching you how to use the system that you just paid almost $500 for. Like, really? And now you're going to make me pay for the tutorial in a game? Like, it's seriously, it's like literally, it's like playing Elden Ring or playing whatever your favorite video game is out there. I just mentioned Elden Ring because it's literally a tutorial that you can walk right past and never even know it was there. But literally, like, that's like asking Elden Ring to, like, you have day one DLC, the tutorial to teach you how to play the game. Like, what? Like nobody would, no video gamer, no gamer out there would put up with that nonsense. They'd be like, no, I'm not buying your stupid game. That's literally what this is for the system at the exact same time. So we obviously went over all the Treehouse stuff with all of that. Ellis and Yang were particularly critical of the way Nintendo revealed the price of Switch 2 and its games. They pointed to a lack of a price in the Direct itself as a deliberate omission. That caused confusion and misinformation as fans scrambled to find out pricing confirmation elsewhere. The Switch 2 and Mario Kart World pricing was intentionally omitted from the Direct for a reason, Yang claimed, but handled poorly in the terms of information being in all these different places, and you're expecting the fans or the consumer to piece it all together. And that's one of the nice parts about having like news resources and stuff like that. Those guys will do that for you. I didn't watch the Direct like while it was going on. I know a few of our guys out there did, and they like live streamed it and stuff, but it's one of those situations where I didn't. I just got all the information afterwards. And we already had the prices at that point. But yeah, sticker shock. It just shows some disrespect to the consumer. Where, oh yeah, you saw the Direct, you're so excited, you're just going to throw your money at us blindly. You're not even going to ask the question of how much it costs because you're so excited, aren't you? It's a little bit degrading, almost to the intelligence of the consumer. So the former NOAA communications staff went on to discuss Nintendo's failure to address the pricing concerns, either with a public statement or in interviews with the press. This, they said, was causing rampant speculation to fill the void with misinformation. They're enabling the story to get out of hand, out of control. They have lost control of this. So what went wrong? Ellis and Yang suggested Nintendo now lacks the consumer mindfulness it once had. Following former NOAA boss Reggie Fils-Aim's retirement and the tragic loss of former Nintendo head Satoru Iwata. Sorry, I know I butchered those names. Nintendo's communications team will now be recommending the company release an official statement, Yang said, but the approval process will be painful, with many people involved before it even gets to current Nintendo boss Furukawa. Nintendo will also be out of practice because it hasn't spoken to its community or press in such a long time, the pair said, nor has it had to deal with this sort of negativity since the Nintendo 3D price debacle of 2011, boys and girls. That's what they're talking about. They haven't had to deal with a crisis like this in over a decade. Now there's concern for staff manning demo stations at the public-facing Switch 2 hands-on sessions. Fans will have reasonable questions at these public events and might put those staff who are manning demo stations, if they respond with any sort of answer, they could end up online or framed as Nintendo's official response. And yeah, don't do that. Like, if you're going to go to one of the demos and stuff like that, don't do that. It's not those employees' fault. Like, they're not the ones that make these decisions and stuff like that. So don't put them in awkward positions for stuff like that, or like try to get them to say something. Like, don't be one of those douchebags. Don't do stuff like that. But like, seriously, like, this is fascinating. I mean, like, literally, they have no idea what's going on. They need to put out a statement. They need to talk about this. They haven't seen backlash or outrage like this in over a decade. And like I said, it's this line over here. Evolving market conditions. They could have just said potential impact of tariffs, right? We're assessing the potential impact of tariffs. We'll let you guys know what we got to do. Because like literally, basically, essentially what they're saying is we might have to raise the prices, is what essentially what they're saying is they might have to raise the prices, right? It's the evolving market conditions that makes me curious as to if some of this right here, the crisis moments behind the scenes that Nintendo has to be having right now with all of the backlash they've had. I mean, this stuff has been absolutely everywhere. It makes me wonder if the delays and the pre-orders and all of that kind of stuff, that's the reason why. Because obviously if you're going to lower the price, right, of any of this stuff, you're not going to want to have pre-orders already on the books, right? Because then you're going to have to refund money. And that is a way bigger hassle. And we already know that the Japanese version of this is cheaper than the American, well, basically anywhere outside of Japan. There's a Japanese edition that's strictly coded in Japanese that is cheaper than the version that they're putting out for the rest of the world, right? And so it's one of those things, we could see some kind of price adjustments. We could see seriously some kind of price adjustments going forward with this, but they're going to have to figure it out. Nintendo's in an absolute mess. They've had a PR disaster going on in their hands. And you know what? Maybe you're one of those guys out there that's totally okay with this. You don't have a problem with it. You think it's things where things should be now, that video games have always been cheap for too long. But it's one of those situations where it's like, things are supposed to get cheaper as manufacturing processes improve, as technology improves. I mean, think about the price of a plasma TV or like a flat screen LCD or any of that kind of stuff from 10, 15 years ago. They were $5,000-6,000, right? At minimum, sometimes even more than that. Now you can literally go to Walmart and pick up a 52-inch television LCD made by some third-party company out there for $200, right? So no, these video games prices shouldn't be continuing to get more expensive as things go, right? That's just insane because at some point you're going to price consumers out. And Nintendo may very well be finding that out, that they are trying to push their fan base too hard and too much, and maybe they're backing off a little bit. I don't know. Tariffs are going on. Things are going absolutely insane, but Nintendo is in a major deep debacle, and they're going to have to figure it out. Or they're just going to have to completely and totally ignore their fans like they haven't done in the past. But boys and girls, considering how much of a consumer-aware world we are currently living in, ignoring your fans, pissing them off, and not listening to them is not a successful career path going forward. Just look at the last few years and just look at the current video game industry. Nintendo, you better do something quick or you're going to be in trouble.